have to admit that given Sable's world and the romanticization of a peace and serenity that allow us to bathe ourselves in its nature's beauty brought me some questions. Besides the coming-of-age story, there is a world that invites us to explore, deprived of any sort of conflict, which allows us to engage in whatever activity we so choose. This choosing is, in fact, the core of Sable's coming-of-age story. The questions, however, were related to how we perceive this peace. As I was exploring and walking around Sable's world, I kept thinking, how much of this beauty is a consequence of extinction? Are we supposed to subconsciously be happy that people are gone? Of course, there are some ecological themes here, but it might be hard to be grateful for the current state of the world when we imagine the horrors that had to take place for it to come about. We find crashed spaceships across the map and find out about a failed mission to terraform the planet. In the end, it's not clear if this mission was a desperate one or just typical expansion for the benefit of a few. Then, there is the coming-of-age story, and it gets interesting. The title character, Sable, is on a rite of passage, the gliding, where she and any who goes through it are allowed some time to figure out what they should be doing for the rest of their lives. For that, they are allowed to wander the world, explore, try things and fail, free from any sort of external pressure. More than the pretty scenarios in Sable, this is the true ideological oasis of the game. This post-capitalist society where we try to find our footing, working out our existentialism on the way. Although given the tribal elements of the game and the whole connection with nature as we explore, there isn't a rejection of a technologically advanced modernity. Some of the tech shown and used by people in the game is actually shown to be more advanced than the real world. We got a device that allows us to float, which helps us in our climbing endeavors. There is a bike to which we bond and travel the desert with that seems to run on infinite energy. And there is no catch here. Technology is at the service of the people and is used to make their life easier. They've managed to rescue it from profit-making goals. And so we get some tasks that need to be done from some of the characters we find throughout our gliding, which act as an interface between us and the world. They are sort of small probing tests to pique our curiosity and see what gets us going. It is important that we have the freedom to pick up these tasks, but it's equally important that we are allowed to fail at them. Sable frequently is unsure of whether she is capable of completing a task she is given, but she is given the space and time to try and push through obstacles. In this sense, Sable offers a very valid, practical approach to existentialism. It explores the pros and cons of this process, and even how our attachment to people and places might interfere with it. By removing from this world any monetary dynamics, we get a pure thought process to partake, to figure out what is our purpose. It is a fantasy that ignores the material needs, since humanity's emancipation in this sense hasn't been completely achieved yet. But even taking that into account, there's still a subversive thought-provoking logic to it. Unfortunately, the fact that we need to commit to one task by the end of our gliding, and so engage in one sole activity till the end of our lives, seems to disregard human multidimensionality. It is collectively useful to have people specialize in certain skills throughout their lives, but the goal should be to remove this constraint and allow us to flow and engage in activities that interest us as we age and as we are stimulated by experiences. For that, we depend on technology, which, as mentioned before, has some potential in Sable's world. Because of that, I wish Sable would go even further in this fantasy and make it even more thought-provoking. Trying to picture an exercise in absolute freedom and emancipation. Having humanity free to change masks at will whenever they so choose, should be one of our collective goals as a species.